welcome back to my watercolor channel, and I decided to paint something different, so I added a sketch to my paper, and it's an egg, and then within I added some flowers, so it's kind of a little bit like a big painted egg. I prepared some colors, some turquoise blue as well as some yellows made out of lemon yellow and deep yellow. And the idea is basically to add the flowers in the middle, so I have different sizes of daffodils in there. I have not added any masking fluid, so I wet the paper quite carefully around. I haven't got that many flowers in the egg, which is quite good, so I don't need to be that careful, but yes, to make it safe you can of course add some masking fluid. I start with very light layers, so I didn't want to have it too strong, and I add the yellow, which I will paint the flowers as well, but I want to have this really nice effect of the yellow around the flowers, which have very soft edges, and then the flowers themselves have a little bit of a sharp edges. Then around or inside the egg, otherwise I add the turquoise blue as well. Here I have, it's very light in color, and I add a little bit of salt on the side and a little bit of darker patches of turquoise blue as well as water, and I don't mind if there are some water stains, so I'm quite carefree here. But I take away some of the excess paint as well of around my leaves, and then while the areas are still wettish or wet actually, I add some green. So I used here green made out of lemon yellow and turquoise blue, and I added quite carefully there, as well as some darker green here as well, and then a bit like, okay, I don't want to paint over my flowers. Then a stronger layer of a turquoise blue, and then spreading it carefully with a middle-sized brush. I also add a bit stronger layers around the edges, so I really want that the edges of the egg are more emphasized. Then I made a purple out of ultramarine blue and some of crimson red. Here as well, the paper was still quite wet, so it was easy to add the purple around the flowers, and here as well some orange. However, if your paper has dried in meanwhile, you can just wait till it's completely dry and then wet it again just with water, and then add the different colors around the flowers. So now I continue with my purple. It's just like tapping in, and it's flowing with the green color together. Also right here it's gonna be a small leaf, and it's a little bit of a dirty green, so I basically added the purple to the green that I have used before, and I want to have a little bit darker colors, but I don't want to add too many different colors or to use too many different colors. So I use now what I have used before and made some purple grayish colors and a bit more salt. Now my Easter egg has dried, so I continue with the flower, and now I've very big daffodil at the top, so in the upper half of the egg, and I'm very carefully adding just the deep yellow. Then I add the orange as well on the edges of the flower and a little bit in the middle. The way I do it is basically painting the opposites flower petals, so I want to have a little bit of overlapping petals later on, but I focus on each petal then individually, so just adding a little bit orange, and I try to keep the right direction or add a little bit volume to the petals as well. And it's basically just some deep yellow and then the orange, and then just proceed with each pattern. And yes, I am looking forward to the spring, although it's not gonna arrive till the end of April and or the beginning of May, which still takes a couple months till then. And before every winter I plant some flowers, some spring flowers into my garden, and I'm kind of like excited to see what kind of flowers will appear. Sometimes it might be a little bit challenging as the squirrels or birds are digging out the flower onions basically, so I can see it sometimes. But you can't do much, although I did put now black plastic back above to protect it slightly. I continue now with my purplish flowers, so I thought I'd give it a little bit of a balance between the orange and the purple. Those are complementary flowers, complementary colors which fit nicely together. And then as well emphasizing the darker areas of the purple flowers. And I add some green towards the stem of the flower as well, and using more and more darker colors here, but it's just lightly, and still I don't want that the painting feels overwhelming. I said, having too much stuff in it. And then I continue with the rest of the petals, especially on the daffodil. So adding the yellow, and I do the same way what I have been doing before. So just adding a layer of some deep yellow, and then while the petal is still wet, or while this area is still wet, I add a hint of orange, which is where I added cadmium red to the deep yellow, and then create a little bit of a form in the petal as well. And I think better I use a smaller brush on here with the smaller daffodil, but I want it to be much stronger than the upper one, and I make more use of the orange as well as adding more to the middle of the flower. As well, emphasizing a little bit then the edges. When the petals have dried up, I thought it looks still quite weak, so I add a little bit more harder edges by using a stronger orange and really emphasizing the different shade areas of it, so it's really, you can see the petals more clearly. As I said, the petals are quite dry, so it's kind of like just adding the colors on it, and I don't mind that in this case they have some harder edges. And then continue with this smaller daffodil, which is pointing to this side as well, and do the same way, so just adding a stronger layer of orange, and then as well as on to the purple flowers, so just a stronger layer of a purple after everything has dried, and just emphasizing the form of those flowers. I try not to overpaint the white areas in this case. Here a little bit, and then on the right side the flower needs some more darker areas. And now we are nearly finished, just adding a very strong layer of orange into the middle of the main daffodil, and I use a bit more paint and spread the paint there, and take off some of the excess paint, as well as using a brush to create more of lighter areas within, as well as adding a little bit more orange there. And I had some leaves left to do the side, so here I add a little bit of a darker green, and it's mixing nicely with the orange that I have used for the daffodils, so creating a little bit of a balance, and then more to the side, although I didn't plan to add the leaf there, but I thought it will need a nice balance to the other leaf there as well, not just having one. And then emphasizing the edges here as well. Now it's nearly done. I make some ugly green, so adding it to the leaf. The green is basically out of the turquoise blue that I have used before, and then mixed with the orange, so it gives a nice balance here as well and make it a little bit more darker. And then emphasizing the leaf form. And then taking off a little bit of the paint and adding more orange or more red, cadmium red, to the smaller daffodils just to emphasize the edges, and there is a little bit of a contrast between those areas. But yes, that was it. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and bye.